The art of baking without baking. A lot of people don't like to bake. They're like, oh, I like to cook, but I don't like to bake because I don't like to measure things. Well, I can tell you right now, I am not a measuring kind of person. I've done it before. I prefer the improv. Just get a bunch of things you like, throw them into a bowl. Good night, good luck, goodbye. So I want to show you my method for making baked goods without measuring a single goddamn thing. First off, there's no right way to bake. Yes, if you want to have a very specific outcome every single time you follow a recipe, great. But if you're open to a little adventure, live a little, see what happens. So I just have 2 mashed bananas in here, and I threw in a little bit of coconut oil, just kind of eyeballed it. Normally I would melt the coconut oil, but you know what? Really, I feel like it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to kind of mash these together. I'm going to throw in 2 eggs. What I find is there are certain ratios of things that I kind of get familiar with. You know, baked goods might be 2 eggs, might be a certain-ish amount of baking powder. And you kind of learn these basic things, and then next thing you know, deliciousness. So, go with the whisk. And what I always do is I start making a liquidy base. And then I add the dry stuff in last. You don't need extra bowls, this wet, this dry. I'll show you what's going on here. Now this is some almond milk that Aja made. Very simple. Add a little bit of slip-a-dip of that. All right, that's all she wrote. Mix that together. Having a good time here. Having a great time. I have a little bit of this Panella organic unrefined cane sugar. Might as well finish it off. I'm also a big believer, I'm going to say that, a big believer in nothing. There's nothing. I have no beliefs. No beliefs are true. That being said, I am quite a significant believer in opening the fridge and pantry and seeing what needs to go and letting that dictate what I'm making. Right? So for example, I had just a little bit of cane sugar left. Always got to have the good maple on here. It's the good stuff. Applesauce. There's like a little bit of applesauce left that we preserved a ton of apples this summer. Right? If you're into preserving, check out Fermenting with Your Best Friend, my latest book. The PR lady told me I had to say that. As if I'd have a PR person, as if somebody would represent me. Mix that in. I do have some chocolate chips that I'm going to go in with. Not just yet though. And at this point, yeah, there's raw eggs. I mean, these are our chicken's eggs. But kind of gauge sweetness. Okay, maybe just a hint a bit more. And if you notice, like, oh, I want some cinnamon in there. Huh. What do you know, folks? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have some cinnamon. Oh, this is the good stuff. Well, it's going in. A little bit of sin. A little bit of sin. Never did anybody wrong. Okay? Have fun with it. Imagine, you know, this thing is like, it's not separate from you. It's like something got in my eye. But imagine that this batter isn't some separate entity out there, that you exist in this different portal. You guys are one and the same. And to me that's very important because it helps you just kind of feel connected to the food. All right, now, here's all we do. Take some flour. I don't know about that much. Put it in. Then shake up my baking powder. If you don't know, baking powder and baking soda, basically the same thing. They both have baking soda. Baking soda is just baking soda, sodium bicarbonate. Baking powder is baking soda with activating and like anti-caking agents or whatever. I mean, different ones are different things, but it's basically the baking soda with an activating agent to make sure that the rise happens. So I just kind of go like that. I don't know. Just kind of throw it in there, eyeball it, maybe a little more. It's easy to overdo baking soda. It's harder to overdo baking powder. If you're just using baking soda, you want to make sure that you have some kind of something like acidic to kind of get it to go. Get it rise, maybe a little splash of lemon juice or vinegar or something. Anyway, add that in, and now, look what we have here. I have a batter. Now I want to keep adding flour to this batter until it thickens up and is like kind of a cakey consistency. And you know, you could keep it thinner, or you can make it thicker. A thicker one is gonna, you know, have more body to it. A thinner one might be more sort of, well, it's like creamy maybe. Anyhow, look at that. And now for the Viva la Resistance chocolate chips, Natural Grocers. We do a lot of canning, preserving, and raising animals and stuff like that. We're moving to a 5-acre homestead soon. We're gonna start up once our baby is out in the world. Any moment now. She's coming any moment. But Natural Grocers is the only local grocery store, like chain, if you will, that lets me go barefoot. So as you can imagine, that's the only one I go to when I need, things like chocolate, things that we just don't. I'm not growing chocolate chips anytime soon. All right, so then that goes into a well-greased pan. Always save a little bit of batter for Aja. It's her favorite part. And look at this, by the way. If you have a whisk that can go like that, then all of a sudden it becomes almost like a spatula. I don't know if that's what it's intended for. And then I just kind of tamper it down on the table. I'll bake it at 350, and then it'll be delicious. I'm not going to show you the finished product. Maybe I will, but I don't know if I will. But what I want you to do is look at this. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine, I want you to visualize yourself baking something delicious, being very happy about it, and being really connected to the food, sitting down, mindfully eating it, and realizing that food is energy, and we nourish ourselves, good things happen. It's not just about what we're consuming, but how we're consuming. Everything we consume is made up of energy, right? And so they say. And the more mindful we are of anything that we take in, the more our body can love on it as the food loves on us. It's so good.